For all your Diablo 4 item and gold needs, go to aoe.com and use code Ineffable for 3% off. Hello everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to be jumping into another Diablo 4 video, and that's going to be a build guide for the Hurricane Druid. Now this is one of my favorite builds right now, and the moment I started playing it, I instantly fell in love with it for a couple of reasons. It's extremely easy to play, it has low gearing requirements, it's very powerful, super tanky, and for me it's very satisfying and fun. Before we get into the build, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone for the support on the last few videos. It's been tremendous, and I'm honestly so humbled that you guys are enjoying the content, so thank you. As always, our gear in this video is not optimized 100%, there's lots of changes you can make here to better suit your playstyle, and maybe even better changes that you can come up with, but this build is to be used as a template, a way to start to ensure that you're on the right track for the Hurricane Druid. So let's get into the gear, and please do use the planner in the description for the optimal rolls. Do not take my rolls as the best in slot for each item. For the main weapon, you want a two-handed mace. This is for the overpower damage implicit, and you want to run Aspect of the Tempest here. On this roll we have willpower, damage, critical strike damage, damage to close, and hurricane duration. Now hurricane duration is the most important stat in this build for the most part. You want to get around 100% just to make this build playable. If you have any less than that, I wouldn't recommend playing the build until you can get that much. For our boots we're running Metamorphosis, and you definitely want the extra evade charges or the attacks reduce the cooldown of evade. We have willpower, movement speed, and ranks to hurricane, as well as chance to stun and movement speed again. Ranks to hurricane is extremely important as this is going to bump up our damage massively. For our pants we have Fevered Mauling, which read that when we hit an enemy with maul we get a little bit of attack speed as well as some nice damage reduction. On these pants we also have willpower, max life, impairment reduction, total armor, and a chance to immobilize. Impairment reduction I would have much liked to be resistant to all elements, and I took total armor because I was under the armor cap at the time. For our gloves we're using Aspect of Stampede with max life, crit chance, crit damage, damage to close, and lucky chance to freeze enemies upon hit. For our chest piece we are using Aspect of Might with willpower, max life, some armor and more max life, and then of course lucky hit chance to stun. For our helmet we are using Tempest Roar. Now the build can be played without it, however it brings a lot of good damage and some utility in terms of making our storm skill, which is namely Hurricane, a wolf skill. For our amulet we got the Shepherd's Aspect with movement speed, crit chance, +3 to resonance, hurricane damage, and movement speed again. Resonance is not ideal here, you specifically want Envenom, but this was the best I could get at the time. For our first ring we are running Edge Masters. This can be replaced with the unique ring Hunter's Zenith for a lot more uptime on debilitating roar, but I enjoyed the extra damage here. We also have max health, damage, crit strike chance, hurricane cooldown, and damage to close. On our second ring we are using Changeling's Debt, which gives us a bunch of damage when hitting a poison enemy as a werebear, where they poison basically all the time. On the ring we have max health, damage, overpower damage, rabies cooldown. I wanted to be hurricane cooldown but I couldn't get it, and then lastly damage to close. But that's going to be it for the gear. For optimal rolls please check the planner in the description, and let's move on to skills. For our boons we are using Wariness, Iron Feather, Avian Wrath, Bolster, and Masochistic. Now Bolster can be switched out for Pack Leader depending how you want to play the build. If you want a bit more emphasis on your pets, which can give you a good amount of stun, then switch to Pack Leader and don't use Bolster. Let's start with a quick breakdown of the skills. We are taking Maul with Enhanced Maul. Fierce Maul and Wild Maul don't give us anything, so there's no point in taking either of those. We then head on down and take 1 point into Predatory Instinct and 3 into Iron Fur for nice damage reduction. Moving further down we take Ancestral Fortitude as well as Vigilance. After that we're grabbing Debilitating Roar, Enhanced and Preserving Debilitating Roar. Moving on down we grab 1 point in Wolves, 1 into Poison Creeper, 1 into Ravens with Enhanced Ravens and Brutal Ravens. And then we take 3 into Clarity. Clarity is extremely important for this build. We get crit chance and damage whenever we cast our companions, and those transfer over to the whole duration of Hurricane. Moving down we grab 1 point into Mending so that we can get 3 points into Provocation. Provocation makes it so that our next non-defensive skill after 16 seconds of being in werebear form will guaranteed overpower, and the skill that we want to overpower is going to be Hurricane. So we grab 5 points into Hurricane, we go ahead and grab Enhanced Hurricane and Savage Hurricane. So we put 5 points into this, and you want to get as many plus to hurricanes as you can on your boots. And you can see here at 9 out of 5, this is the stats that we have. Our cooldown is 17 seconds of it, and the duration is 18, so we have a bit of wiggle room. Moving on, we grab the Elemental Exposure, and then Endless Tempest to boost the duration of Hurricane. Then we go ahead and grab Neurotoxin, Toxic Claws, and then 3 into Envenom. Because of the Tempest Roar, our Werewolf skills are now Storm skills, so Envenom will proc basically as long as we have the Hurricane up. Moving on down, I grab 3 into Defiance, 1 into Natural Disaster, 3 into Resonance, 1 into Defensive Posture, and 2 into Nature's Resolve. Now we don't have a great way of gaining Fortify, so this is kind of our method of doing that. On the bottom side, we grab 1 into Quick Shift, and then 3 into Heightened Senses that give us a good amount of damage reduction when we're shifting, and we're doing that often as we're casting our companion skills. Ursine Strength is our capstone of choice that gives us 20% more max health, as well as when we are healthy, we deal 30% increased damage and 30% increased overpower damage. Now you can make an argument for Bestial Rampage for the 50% increased damage after being in Werebear for 2 seconds, as we always are in Werebear, and sometimes it's a bit more uptime on the damage, but overall Ursine Strength is better. I'm going to flash through the Paragon board now, but please do check the planner for the most accurate Paragon board, as I might have switched things around in the future. But that's basically going to be it. I'm going to leave you guys with the tier 80 gameplay, and tier 80 for this build is relatively easy. You can see that I hardly ever have problems. Of course, the boss fight is a bit slow, but the bosses in the tier 80 are pretty tanky, so you can't really fault the build that much. When we do get to the gameplay, I'll speak over just how to actually activate the build and get things rolling. But if you guys did enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing, and until next time, farewell. In terms of how the build actually works, the first thing you want to do is set up your provocation stacks, which you'll see I do here as soon as I enter the dungeon. You just do this by entering Werebear form and remaining in the form for at least 16 seconds. When I'm nearing 16 seconds, you can see now I head off, and I want to cast my companion skills 1 each so I can get 3 stacks of clarity. 3 stacks of clarity means I have 45% increased crit chance and 45% increased damage for my Hurricane. Once I reach 16 seconds of provocation, I can pop my Hurricane, and now you can see that it is guaranteed to overpower, and each tick is just going to overpower and crit basically every single time. Once you have popped Hurricane, and now it's guaranteed to be overpowering and basically critting every single time, you can start building up your new provocation stacks just by remaining in Werebear. So we're just going to be attacking with Maul, which is going to give us some damage reduction, and while we're doing that, you definitely want to cast your companions again to build up your 3 stacks of clarity. And then from there, the gameplay loop is pretty simple. It's just rinse and repeat. And of course, if things are looking a little dicey and you need a bit more tankiness, go ahead and pop Debilitating Roar to debuff all the enemies, and this will help you stay alive much easier. But yeah, that's everything I have to say about the build. Please do enjoy this Pit tier 80 run. You'll see that I have no problems clearing it. I'm basically cruising through the entire thing, especially when it comes to mobbing and the elites. They really do give no problem to a build like this. Once again, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing. Until next time, farewell. If you made it this far and you're watching Beast of the Land get absolutely dusted, leave the word ineffable in the comments so I know you made it. Peace.